Hey, it's Jacob Wheeler, and you are listening to Jigs and Bigs.
Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef here for Jigs and Bigs. Listen, guys, we got to talk. How the hell was your April? You know, turns out for us, it was a grind here in Western Massachusetts. The good news is that now it is May. Hey, cue the NSYNC. This month, we have a ton happening as far as online tournaments and amazing content as well. In this week's show, we've got Binya Outdoors joining us to review the unbelievable first month of the brand new Team Series tournaments that just wrapped up. And he's also had a pretty damn good past couple of trips himself. And we're going to hear all the details right here. Plus, Joe is with us on the road. Like, he is in the cockpit of that new rig that they picked up. Currently on the way back now in what we're affectionately calling the brown bus. We're going to find out how it's going and how life on the road is treating them. And is that the new normal? This week in Just the Tip, we're talking rivers. It's the number one type of waterway that intimidates anglers, at least listeners of this show. And we're going to try to attempt to give some tips that might help you build a tiny sliver of confidence when it comes to fishing that moving water. Guys, we got some calls in the live well, some good stuff to talk to. We got all sorts of stuff for you lined up. More Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up, folks. Go and get yourself something delicious to enjoy. You're going to need it. We'll see you guys in a bit. Absolutely true right there. Now, I love this. John Higgins chimes in right away. He says, rivers equal home. We got, let's see, Jay Manning's in the house with us. He says, Joe in the RV. And Bert Ward comments and says, podcasting and driving. Watch out, Civic owners. You guys are going to hear a little bit of road noise. I just opened up Joe's mic. Man, what a wild show we have for you guys this week. An unbelievable show. I'm going to do the housekeeping stuff. Joe, I'm going to mute you again to take some of that road noise out. And we'll go jump through some of this stuff and get you guys up to date on what the hell you're even listening to. Folks, welcome to Jigs and Bigs. This is a weekly fishing podcast. I am your host, Bobby Roast Beef. On the road, we got Who the Fuck is Joe Brown? We got Binya Outdoors joining us this week. He's our tournament director. We got lots of tournament-y type stuff to talk about this week. Like I said, weekly podcast. We are fishing-based. We're all about that fishing community. We try to bring you guys a lot of entertainment. We like to, elevate some highlight some stuff going on in the community and just share a bunch of fishy stories. Plus, if we're able to educate you a little bit too, that's not too bad either. We do have merch available for those of you that really dig the show and like what we're doing. We've got Jigs and Bigs logo merch. I've got Bobby Roast Beef merch available for you. More new Bobby Roast Beef merch dropping with an updated logo. And Big Jig Energy, that is the official Jigs and Bigs team in the online tournament series that we're going. We'll talk about how we did. I think maybe we might have bit off a little bit more than we can chew, but whatever. It's fine. We'll get there. We have all kinds of good stuff going on. Like I mentioned, online tournaments. We're on Fishing Chaos. We've got a bunch of unique tournaments that you can utilize as a way to actually kind of fish alongside us and, engage as part of the Jigs and Bigs community. It's pretty cool. We're also all over social media. Whether you're looking on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, check out Jigs and Bigs, check out American Vet Fishing, and check out Binya Outdoors. Let's see. And this show is on every single podcast platform that there is, even YouTube. And that audience is growing. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Make sure if you're checking us out on your favorite podcast platform, if you've got the ability to rate or review us, go ahead and do so. It helps the show in a major way. Of course, if you really like what's going on, you want to kind of jump in or you have a question for us, you want to give a shout out, maybe you just want to tell us what kind of jackasses we are, the best way to do that is to call us. Yeah, call us or text us on the hotline. The hotline is 413-324-8519. You can call and text us there with a submission for multiple show segments, whether it be an FTG where you want to air a grievance, or maybe it's just a question or something you want us to talk about in the live well. That's what that's for. Go ahead and put that number here in your phone right now, 413-324-8519. Nobody's ever going to answer that line. You can leave a voicemail or you can text us, and that is the number one way to reach out to us. One of the things that I do want to mention as well is that Man, our YouTube channel has just been getting a lot more traffic as far as folks actually listening to the podcast. And I got to thank you guys. That is freaking awesome. We have some folks that we have mentioned already, the Jig Heads. These are our Patreon followers. They're subscribed and they get access to the show, and they can kind of chime in and do their, get access to the show and engage with us while we record it. So if you hear us referencing anybody in here, that's what it is. This is our Jig Head community, and we're a group of degenerate anglers that just kind of come together all around. So let's go ahead. We'll get caught up on what the week was like. Starting with what I think would probably be the best, I guess the most impressive week. Joe, you're not in Massachusetts. How is the brown bus?
It took some getting used to drive it for sure, but I apologize for the road noise, guys. I was trying to find a rest stop. I haven't found one yet, but if I do, I will pull over. So we flew into Fort Myers, Florida yesterday. Got up at 3 a.m. to hit the airport because you have to go super early right now because like TSA or whatever is shorthanded.
Yep.
And dude, Bradley was a shit show at 4 a.m. Oh,
I believe it. Yeah.
We hopped on our flight. We flew Breeze Airways, which I never done. It's kind of one of those things I've always been scared of doing because you hear nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
It was the only nonstop flight to Fort Myers. But, the flight was fine. It was, it was great. I'm a plane sleeper, so as soon as I get onto a plane, I'm out.
You're so lucky, dude.
Yeah. So I slept the whole flight, and we landed, took a quick 10-minute Uber to where the camper was, and we got in. We were in and out of there in about, I'd say, 2.5 hours. Saw her for the first time, sight unseen.
That's wild.
And dude, we absolutely love it. We're in love with it. It's like driving a big rig. It's kind of like set up the way our MRAPs were in Afghanistan. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So the functions I got, she's a big girl, man. And one wicked funny thing, guys. So when you're on like the highways with tractor trailers and stuff, and you let them in or they let you in, they like flash their taillights.
Oh yeah.
In my head, I've always been like, how do they do that? Are they just like shutting their headlights on and turning them back on? Nope.
There's a switch.
A fucking button on the steering wheel for that shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's cool.
I've been doing it to all the tractor trailers like I'm cool, They're trying to get in or let me in. I, flash my taillights and my headlights with my little button on my steering wheel.
That's badass, dude. So
never knew that.
I am curious because, I pull a trailer a lot, and there is, and I don't know if this is in all like states necessarily or what it is, but generally on highways, if you have a 3-lane highway, trucks are not allowed in the leftermost lane. But you're not towing, so you might get a pass.
I dabbled in there a couple times.
It happens,
but keeping it cool. I've been staying in I'm only doing 70. I'm not going crazy.
That's smart. Yeah, that's real smart. And who was it? I think it was Bert. Bert chimed in earlier, and he was podcasting and driving. Watch out for Civic owners. Nice, Bert. Jay asked a question. He goes, how's the horn? Is it worthy of that thing, I hope?
Nope. I already told Meg I'm putting in a train horn.
Yeah, dude, you kind of need to.
You almost need that, sound effect to see if we can put that to come through the horn. That would be the best horn sound ever.
Bert says, I drive a box truck for a living and I've never heard of that button. I absolutely brake or use hazards. Just brake check.
Yeah, nope, it's a fucking button. I was looking at them like, what's this do? I had to chat GPT it. And they're like, oh, that's what it's for. I was like, oh my God.
I had to do some chat GPTing today as well, but we'll talk about that later when we go through my week. So did you do any fishy shit this week, like from the last time we recorded?
And not really, just because I was kind of prepping for this. I haven't really gotten to go. I think I went out once, and it was obviously nothing to call home about because I didn't pull any fish.
Oh yeah.
But fucking South Carolina sucks, dude. But
South Kakalaki.
Yeah, no real fishy stuff. Just this week was full of just flying down and picking this thing up.
Nothing wrong with that, man. That's awesome. Good for you, dude. I was telling Holly about it, and she's like, "Holy shit, that's." She's like, "So they're back. They're doing the van life," and I was like, "I don't know if they're doing van life, but I'm like, they've got the option." And I think it was her that came up with the brown bus.
Nice, I like it. I'm gonna put that in big letters on the back and put like the shit emoji next to it.
Yes. I love that shit, dude. So,
dude, what I will tell you, one thing that's awesome is being able to just pull over and then walk 20 feet and go take a piss.
See, that is something not enough people, I think, realize is so great about that kind of a setup. Because you can totally, any parking lot, whatever, you can take a nap, you can make a sandwich, like, you literally have a house on wheels.
Yep.
That's awesome.
100%.
Now, have you guys slept in the truck yet? Yeah, you must have.
No, so we actually stayed in a hotel last night because we were just so smoked from Disney Springs.
Fair enough.
But no, tonight we're sleeping in it. I'm just gonna pull over. We can keep the generator running with the ACs. We're just gonna crash out in it tonight.
No, that's awesome because that's like the biggest review. Like, how is sleeping in the new digs? Is it comfortable?
Yeah.
Have you found out like if there's like leveling equipment or anything that's in there so you can like you have it like set just right?
I hit a button and it auto levels itself.
Beautiful. Yep. Dude, that's awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome. And Todd goes, don't forget to dump that tank. Because, I know. Did you bring your cameras?
No shitting allowed.
No shitting allowed. Yeah, it's gray only. Yeah, nice.
Yep.
I think that is for sure. I don't know if you're vlogging the whole experience, but if you are, that when you do empty the tank, you should 100% capture that moment on video because you'll never get it again. You'll learn so much in a matter of seconds.
I'm just gonna dump it in some random person's yard before I get home.
Just do it on the highway. Pull the plug and hit the gas.
Just let her go and let her run down the highway.
Yeah, fuck it. Yep. Fuck it.
Like these roads in South Carolina are wicked shitty. I don't know what's going on. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh, well, that's cool, man. I'm glad things are going well. Yeah. I'm glad things are happening for you. I have Binya, let's jump over to you and find out how your week was as far as fishy shit, because you actually had a really good fucking week this week.
Yeah, it was crazy because I feel like fishing started yesterday. To be honest.
Yeah.
Like everything up until now has been like hit or miss. The fish have been stupid lethargic. I could not get them to bite anything. And when I did, it was like, I felt like it was more by accident than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for those of you who know me or have interacted with me, you know that like as a general rule, when I'm fishing, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
But when there's a competition involved, I'm on another level. And Bobby's fished tournaments with me and like actually checked on my mental health throughout the event because I'm not a good competitor to be around because I'm like just locked in and I'm in kill mode the entire time.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to put up fish that I knew I could put up. Like I have a lake that I can consistently put up good numbers and it was pissing me off. Yeah. So I had a half day yesterday and I decided, you know what? It's the last day of the Buds tournament and I'm going to just go and I'm going to get out in the water. I'm going to fish till dark and I'm going to leave it all out there. And for those of you who actually watch my video, you'll see this, but the first thing I hooked into, and the jig heads are going to get this firsthand. Anybody listening is going to hear this before the video hits. So I get on the water. The first thing that happens, actually, you didn't even know this part, Bobby. So on the way there, I had screwed around on my kayak rigging, and I have the Yak Attack side stage rod holders.
Yep.
And I had unclipped the little thing that you like lock it to it. So you know how you can like unclick it and tick it off. I had unclicked that and forgot. And I got all the way to the ramp and realized that I left one of those side stagers in the middle of the highway. And then I went to go put my battery in my kayak. And when I charge my battery, I take this harness off of it that I plug into my battery system in my kayak. And that was sitting on this table.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
I had no power,
Yep.
no rod holder. So I called the wife, and luckily the wife is a very understanding person and decided to come bring me my cable and found the rod holder on the way here.
She did?
So then after, she found it in the middle of the highway.
That's awesome.
So it was a little bit road rashed and missing a couple pieces. So I'm probably going to end up not using it because now I don't trust it to hold rods, over the water because it's a horizontal rod holder. And I'm afraid if it fails, I'm losing 3 rods, and that's just not worth it.
No, exactly.
So then literally delayed getting on the water, a little bit frustrated. 2 casts in, whip this cat swim jig out there, and I feel this bite, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? Feel a couple head shakes and then nothing. And I'm like, this got to be a stump. Like I'm imagining the head shakes. Reeling it up, and I'm going to it. Like I'm doing that, in a kayak, when you used to fish in your kayak, like I'm literally reeling this thing and I'm going towards what I'm hooked into. Yeah. So I'm positive I'm hung in a stump, or I've got, how like a little one will get wrapped up in a tree or something. And like, cause I could feel head shakes, but I was like, this is too big. Yeah. It's not a fish. Yeah, it wasn't a fish. It was a fucking snapping turtle.
That's right.
And this thing was like pizza box size. Like it's the best way I can describe it. This thing was so big when it finally surfaced, it started dragging me in the kayak backwards.
Jesus Christ.
It was backpedaling and dragging me to the side. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the right thing to do is because I'm not in the business of like trying to hurt animals. But at the same time, I'm already missing one finger and I don't want to play around with trying to get a swim jig out of a snap. And it was in his mouth. It was in the corner of his mouth.
He ate that shit. That's crazy, dude.
Ate it. I could see the swim jig sticking out of the corner of his mouth. So I'm going to have my hands near the face of a dinosaur.
Yep.
To get that out of there. So I'm like, you know what? He got pissed when he surfaced. He came out. You can actually see it in the video. He's backpedaling like a human. Like he's like butterfly stroking and pulling me backwards. And then all of a sudden he gave up and started coming towards me. And now I'm shitting a brick because I'm in a plastic boat.
Yeah.
I have no defense against this thing. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I pulled a bunch of line out, let him because he basically just like sunk back down and laid on the bottom, and I just cut the line. And I'm like, sorry, buddy, but I'm not going to try to help because I'm going to cause more damage to both of us by trying to get this thing out of your face.
Bert chimes in. He goes, Binya, that happened to me this morning, except it was a fish and started pulling it in. And this tank gets caught up on the only chain link buoy in the entire lake. Dude, that's fucking, that's
what I thought at first it was, is like, like a fish gets wrapped around like a root ball.
Yeah. And
so you can feel it shaking, but you're pulling and I had a 7-foot medium heavy bent all the way over. And I'm like, this is either state record or I'm hooked onto a tree.
Yeah. Yeah. That's rough.
So, and then luckily later on in the day, I ended up catching a bunch of fish, finally got into honestly what would have been a good slot day. Cause it was all 14, 16, 14, bunch of little ones. And then decided to stick it out a little longer and managed to pull 2 fish that moved me from 5th to 3rd in the slot.
Yeah, that's freaking badass, dude. That's badass. I was talking with Sean today, and I was like, did you see Binya slipped into the top 3? And he's like, dude, I put in a freaking nice couple of fish. That's badass.
It was literally at the beginning of the video. It's funny, too, because it was weird forecasting. You would think I staged it because I was like, okay, guys, I need a 19.5 and a 20.25, and I can move into 3rd. That's exactly what I need. and I got a 19 and a half and a 20 and a quarter. So it was like literally scripted. Like
that's fucking
got
awesome,
those two fish. So
that is fucking awesome. John Higgins chimes in. This is a good tip, actually. He goes, take it from a cat man. Keep a pair of 12-inch forceps just for turtles. Turtles are fucking scary, dude. Like, I've seen people thinking they're holding them right on the shell. Because, like, there is a spot where they can't reach you. Like, if they snap. Right. Like, there is a spot, but it's back there. Like, they can move their neck pretty fucking far. And I'm always like, man, I don't know.
And these are like... I mean, literally, like, they're big. Like, this particular body of water, I have actually run across turtles that were mating and pissed them off. Like, these are turtles that I've interacted with a lot. Like, I've had run-ins with them quite a few times. Like, they're not intimidated by humans. They pop up next to my kayak all the time.
Yep.
But, like, when I hooked it, I'm like, I don't think I can safely get near this thing without like hurting myself.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And it's not, that's the problem. Like it can be really bad. Bert says, watch out for the dick necks.
Yeah.
Fucking dick necks. Soft shell turtle says, hold my beer. Yeah. Brutal, man. Brutal. Yeah. You definitely had a solid week though, you know, and finished the tournament well. And we're going to obviously hear the details while we go over it all, but man, that is just fucking bananas, dude. What a wild ass fucking week. I had a week. I'll just go ahead and say that. For my week, first off, things started off. My wife and kid got back from South Carolina, very happy, and this all went down actually as we recorded last week. They had a blast. I have a wedding lined up. It's the first wedding of like a very busy wedding season. And it's something I'm excited about because the last couple of years have been really slow as far as private events. And I've got theories on why that was, but I feel like things are on the uptick right now, which is awesome because this allows me to take some time off from trivia if I need to make plans happen, which is great because I really haven't done any traveling in a while. You know, I gotta scratch that itch. But so Monday morning I get up, I handle all the domestic stuff that I got to do, and my plan was to just start immediately checking boxes off of things that I needed to have ready and prepared for the wedding. Well, I go and I log into the planning account for this bride, and like all of the stuff from our last meeting is just where it was. Like they hadn't added any songs, there was no information. So I put an email together and I say, okay, so this is the stuff that we need. I need boom, 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 all this other stuff. So now I have a day where I just have to prep my trivia stuff for the week. And then I've got that day open. So I said, I'm going to do something quasi-productive. I'm going to build a black pack. So I mentioned this a little while ago. I had ordered, after fishing with you, Mike, I had ordered a black pack for the boat. When Mike gets on the boat with me, he uses a Yak Attack black pack, and it's a great way to keep his rods organized because he's got multiple rod holders that surround the thing. All of his tackle is all contained in this one deal, and I'm like, that's a really good idea. So I bought the biggest one that they have, the 16 by 16, and it fits great right in the boat. It actually is the perfect kind of height with, I got the sidekick with it as well, or the short stack with it, so it's a little bit taller than normal. It gives me two separate areas. Now, the bottom area of this black pack is what I'm storing all my tackle boxes in, all my 3,700 boxes and everything. All that stuff goes right in there. And then the top half gets all of the tackle boxes that are used for like my finesse stuff. So like all my bait finesse stuff goes up there, but there's a lot of extra room. So my tools, my scent, I've got a random spool of like leader line that I have, shit that I'm going to run into. So things are actually, believe it or not, I don't want to get like ahead of anything, but
it's fucking organized, dude.
Like it's actually like starting to come together and get organized. But the beauty of it is I have 6 additional rod holders now that are mobile in the boat. I can put them wherever I want them to be, but they'll be vertical up and down, which means they're not getting in the way of anything out toward the sides. And this isn't so much for me, it's for when I fish with other folks and they've got their own gear. Instead of having rods strewn along the gunnels and like sticking out all over the place and having to worry about it, now these rods can be put in a place that's nice and well organized. 6 is a decent number to get started. You know what I mean? I've got 7 rod holders up at the front casting deck right now, and that is almost enough for me, what I've been taking when I bring out like everything. but we're in a good place. We're in a very, very good place. So I got that together. I'm feeling good about that. I also, that day, I spooled up the brand new Arc Gravity BFS Avid reel. So the Arc has released this, and I'm surprised there's a lot of people talking about this reel. And I realize why they're talking about this reel. Arc put this reel together to compete in that more entry level, like budget sort of area. So this reel is extremely light. I want to say it's 5.5 ounces, and it's got a very, very light 28 millimeter spool. It's a different spool than what is in the original Gravity BFS. It doesn't have the adjustable column for the magnetic brake so that you can get so much variety. But this is designed for really, really light applications. So I was told, like trout magnets and things like that, this will be a dream to throw on. So immediately I'm thinking, this is going on my ultralight rig, on my ultralight rod, 100%. We're just going to try that. So I spooled that puppy up, got that together. It's a really nice looking reel. I did take a couple of casts. I'm using I don't want to say a prototype, but I am using a very, very tiny jerkbait on this. And when I say tiny, I think it's like under 3 grams, like super, super tiny. And I'm testing it out for something that I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy once I'm able to pull the lid off of this whole thing, because it's going to be really good. So that's all set. That's good. And that's going to come into play because I'm going out fishing with what I'm calling BFS, Bait Finesse School, with Cheryl Bentley. And I just got actually a DM from Cheryl just tying up some details for Sunday. So that's on the agenda. That's going to be really good. I watched the weather really from last Sunday on, and I was like, I know I'm only going to be able to dedicate one full day to be able to go out and fish before the month is over. So what I did was I was looking at what was going on, and I basically cherry picked Wednesday, because we had a little bit of a nice stable pattern Monday to actually really Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And Wednesday was pretty much the same, but Wednesday night we had a cold front come through. And I was like, we're going to have dropping pressure. Everything looks good. We'll see what happens. I woke up that morning. Conditions weren't ideal because we had less clouds than I had anticipated. Light winds, but the winds that we had were out of the right direction. They were coming out of the south-southeast, or a south-southwest rather. So it was better. You know, I'm like, this is okay. And I got to tell you guys, I feel like I finally got somewhere with the Connecticut River. Started out fishing. It paid off really well. And I didn't catch anything necessarily that helped with the derb, because I think the biggest fish that I caught was one 15.25-inch smallie. But I basically needed to really break 16 in order to cull anything. So while it didn't do anything for the derb, it definitely did something for my own mental health. That was a very, very good thing. So that felt really good. I was even on the boat with Eleanor, with the dog, that this whole month I've been cursing. I'm like,
You're not good luck.
I thought she was. She is not. Well, she kind of redeemed herself. I was like, okay, here we go. So we got some shit going on. It's pretty good. Wednesday was my final send for April, but like I said, it totally paid off. It was definitely the most action I had on the Connecticut River. Let's see, what else did I get? Yeah, I think in total I got 7 bites all day, which is for the amount that I haven't even had like real bycatch other than 1 pike this month come out of the Connecticut River. 1 pike, that's it. Let's see, what do we got out here? Oh, so the river's got some lower water levels as well, significant ones. And I got to tell you, I think they are way overdue to get the docks in, because loading and launching is not fun over at the Oxbow launch. I'm thinking any week they're going to get those in. Should be good to go. But Benny and I did a little bit of brainstorming, which was kind of cool. We have an idea. We're not going to bust out any details here, but what started out as just like a nice little thing to do for some anglers and competitors turned into like a whole ass thing. And Joe, You're going to love this because I'm pretty sure at least this first one's going to happen in your neck of the woods just because it's Jigs and Bigs country, you know, and I think it'll work out good. It is a live event in the fall, and I think you guys are going to love it. I'm just dropping this little nugget here. It's going to be good. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, this is what happens though. First thing in the morning, I'm getting my caffeine in, and Mike and I are on the phone, and I'm like, you know, it sounds like a good idea. Next thing you know, 60 minutes later, we're like, okay, so this is what we'll do, and we'll have these designed, and we'll wear those, and it'll be awesome. Trust me, I'm not going to say too much because there's still a lot of moving parts, but it's going to be badass. And I don't know if I mentioned this. I must have mentioned this last week. I had to pour a little bit out for my blue blockers. I lost my sunglasses last week, which sucked. I really like those sunglasses too. And it was all because, I don't know if you guys can see, the jig heads might be able to see, but I still, like, I'm trying. I genuinely am trying, but like, I still have a two-tone head. So when I've been out on the water, I've been taking my hat and glasses off so that I don't look like a cue ball when I'm DJing this nice couple's wedding, you know, or officiating or whatever I'm doing for these clients. And I can't get it. Well, I had my hat my glasses in my hat, and like a moron, I put them up on right on the nose of my boat, and the wind just took them. I was able to scoop the hat up, thank goodness. Got the hat back, dried that out. We were good, but the glasses were a goner. So I ordered not just one, but I ordered 2 replacement pairs, and I'm glad they showed up on Friday. I really like those sunglasses, guys. I genuinely love them. They're affordable. You know, not every pair that they make is polarized, but the polarization is fantastic. And they do something that's really interesting is they kind of create like a more high contrast kind of image. And I like how that plays on the water. I'm going to try and experiment with some on some cameras and see if I can capture the difference and see, you know, and show you guys what I'm talking about. I think they're really good. I also like the fact that they're not like super dark like some other sunglasses, so I can generally start with them a little bit lighter in the day. But we do have a affiliate code with Blu Blocker, and I actually messaged them beforehand. I was like, hey, can I use our affiliate code? Is that going to be like against some like terms of service I'm unaware of or anything? They're like, oh no, go for it. That's fine. I was like, all right, cool. Awesome. And while we don't have like a discount code or anything like that, you can get free shipping on any orders of $50 or more, which guess what? Any pair of polarized sunglasses is going to put you right over $50. So you're good to go. That link is in the description of the podcast, or you can go to jigsandbigs.com. That link, you'll be found right there. I also ordered a bunch of accessories for the gun to brand it Jigs and Bigs style. I got some new grips on the way. I got some ammo strips, reloading strips. I got myself a lockbox. So that I could keep it in the car, and probably could have used that today, to be honest with you. And I've also picked up, what else was the other thing? Oh, I picked up a Kydex holster that matches my truck because
we know.
But hey, you know, I got to give it that I got everything's got to match with me, you know, at least in that sense. So wedding coming up this Saturday, but I mentioned this before. Sunday night, I'm actually going for the first time this year. I'm going to the Berkshires, and I'm going with Cheryl Bentley, which is going to be awesome. Cheryl is she's picked up a bait finesse combo and has dabbled a little bit, but had asked me about spending some time with me to kind of like learn like some applications and figure some stuff out. And she's like, "What do I need to bring?" And I was like, "Bring that combo and that's it. Don't worry. Like if you have some special baits that you want to like try out or something, take those. But that's it. Just bring that." I'm like, I've got 4 bait finesse combos, and between the 4 of us, we'll be able to do any kind of application that we could possibly think of. But I'm like, we are going to be limiting to just that. So we're going to go out, and it's going to be a multi-species send. We're going to go to one of my favorite spots, which is awesome because this is a little bit of a kind of like a pre-fishing mission for the upcoming championship in May. And May is loaded with tournament action, like loaded. Team tournament this month, slot limit tournament this month, multi-species open, that's a 7-day tournament this month, and the 48-hour championship is this month. It is going to be bananas. And just today, I posted a reel on Instagram, and I put it up on YouTube as well. The one and only John Higgins, Mr. Sandbar Bullies himself, had called in last week in the live well and made this analogy about comparing bass anglers to golfers. And I took some elements there, and it was, I think, the perfect sort of like little fun little kick in the arse to get some folks to jump into this multi-species scavenger hunt. Because like we mentioned it before, how like some folks just, they get it in their head that like that's not the type of fishing they do. And dudes, I'm here to tell you, if you like to fish like a typical bass angler, you can catch anything on that gear. You just got to put yourself on the right body of water. That is it. And we also, I should mention too, with the multi-species stuff, a lot of people look at the list and they're like, oh yeah, well, I don't have access to those fish. Nobody has ever caught all 22 or 23 species. It's never happened. The most I would assume somebody's caught was 15 or 16. Like, trust me, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. It's a whole lot of fun. To qualify for the championship, you just have to be entered in a open. And if you enter this coming open the week in May, I'll allow those anglers into the championship if they want to jump in, as long as you're in one of them. So good stuff. Oh, Shade had 17. I thought he had 15, but I could believe it. If there's a guy who's got the title, it's Dave Shade. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. Now today, I got to talk about today, because today was something. Like I said, I've got a wedding lined up for tomorrow, and usually what I like to do is 24 hours beforehand, I like to go through and just audit all of my equipment, make sure batteries are charged, cables are ready, everything that I could possibly need to go. In fact, like one of the things behind pulling back the beef curtain here, I don't like to buy much for lighting. I don't. Like, even the lights that I use here, like behind me, these are just like, I got a deal on these, and I just figured I would use them for like extras to throw them around. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, they're going in the studio for the podcast. So I actually, every time I go and do an event that requires any kind of lighting, I have a company that I work and I rent the stuff from. And I've worked with this company before when we've done live events for the podcast. And I usually schedule the pickup for that day. So everything is ready to go. And that's what's happening now. Everything's in the truck. This is what happened to me at my storage unit today. So like every day I get up and I take my daughter to school, and I make that drive over there, and nothing's weird. Nothing's going on. Obviously, I started the truck there. We get there. I come back. I stop and I grab a coffee, and I come back and I get home. I shut the truck off, and I come in, and I doing some domestic stuff at home, and time comes, I'm about to head out. So I head out, and I should also say this, in this thing, I have been carrying every day, every possible place where I am allowed to. Like, I haven't had to go to a court or anything like that, so that's fine. But I've been carrying every day just to get into that practice, right? So I'm at the storage unit, and I'm gathering all my stuff, and everything is cool. I do the idiot check, the list, and make sure I have everything that I need. And I drop off some of the stuff that I don't necessarily need, and I'll come back for next week. And I go through, and I go to start the truck, and I hear the engine start to turn over and then stop, and then just clicking, click, 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 click. And it's the starter. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I give it a second. I try it again. And this is like push to start. It's not a key. And I'm thinking, all right, what the hell's going on? Now, here's the deal. I, over the winter, had noticed my truck having like some difficult starts here and there. So then I was like, it's going to be time to change out the battery eventually. And then as spring started to slowly creep on in, it was fine. And I just forgot. I just totally forgot. So I can't start my truck. I have all of my livelihood in the back of my truck with all the windows down, by the way. And I have my gun on me. So I can't just leave. You know what I mean? Like I can't leave the gun in the truck, obviously, with like the windows down and shit. So I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? I start making phone calls. I call a bunch of friends, and I've mentioned him on the show before. An old friend of mine from college. We were in bands together. My buddy Jared, vegan Jared, drives a Subaru. That guy, we've talked about him before. He was there to help me out. He was actually out on his lunch break, and he was like, yeah, man, I'm available. What do you need? And I was like, do you have jumper cables? Because I just got to go and I need to replace my battery, but I just got to get to like Advance. And he says,
Hey, Bobby, not to rub it in or anything, but I'm going over Santee Cooper right now.
Wow. Ouch.
So Jigs and Biggs is going to be looking for a new co-host in the future. We'll be dropping some information about that. So he calls me and I was like, do you have any jumper cables? He's like, I don't. Oh, this is the best part, guys. I have a Noco jump box. And I bought it when I first bought this truck because I'm like, this will be handy, and it'll be handy for the boat if I ever need to jump the boat, you know? And I haven't had to use it yet, so I have been lazy and haven't charged it. In fact, I lost the cable to charge it. I am charging it now. So it's not like I could help myself get out of the situation. And that's when I was like, fuck, this sucks. So my buddy says to me, he's like, I'll tell you what, man, I'll come by. He goes, I don't have jumper cables, but I'll stop by like Advance Auto and grab some. And he's like, you can just Venmo me for them. I was like, all right, perfect. I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I go, Jared, which one are you going to? I go, because I'll just call them and make sure they have the battery. I'll Venmo you for the battery. Just bring the battery over there. So that's what we did. We swapped it out. I got a brand new battery in here. The guy I talked to was like, yeah, he's like, they start about this price. They top out at this price. I was like, so the top end, if we're going to replace it, we're going to replace it. We're going to upgrade. We're not going to put in something that I'm going to have to change in a few years or anything like that. We're doing it the right way. So I swapped that out. Luckily, I had all the tools to be able to do it. I had my socket set. I was able to get it all done. That was good. I put a post up on Facebook too. What I didn't need at that moment was like everybody in the comments going like, hey idiot, you should charge the thing in the back. I didn't need that at that point. But I had a bunch of people reach out. I was like, nope, I'm good. Everything's cool. It's all good. Bert says he nailed it right here. He goes, I bet he didn't even stop to fish it. It's true. He hit his stump with that bus, with the brown bus. The brown bus. So yeah, it was a pain in the ass, but I got it all set. I got my lights. I got everything that I need. So we're good to go. Man, what a fucking week. What a goddamn week. And you know what? I didn't even think about this, Joe. Joe, do we have a headline this week? I'm not even sure if we have one.
No, but I'll make sure I have a good one for next week.
This works out perfectly then, because we can just transition right into tourney time and dive right into that. And I think that's what we should do. So it's May. Yesterday it was going to be May. Today it's May. That means that the what do you call it? The April team tournament is over. What do you have for us, Binya? Any kind of an update?
It was interesting because the top two teams didn't really change much. And I will say that was something that surprised me that they got to that big of a start. But what was really cool to see was a bunch of teams, and I was actually really impressed with this. And I will say, I don't know if I would have done it. There was still teams that were culling and adding fish throughout the month, even though the fish they were adding wouldn't necessarily move them into the money. They were just jockeying for position, even though it really didn't have any financial means.
Yep.
It was cool to see guys still culling and still adding fish and still submitting more fish, because it shows me that they're there just to see where they're landing. And that's really what tournaments are about to me, is bettering yourself, getting better at fishing and learning how to, because when you compete, there's really, in my mind, and Joe could probably attest to this too from having done tournaments, you can only get so good fun fishing. But when you're putting yourself against other anglers, that's when you learn, I've got to get better at a certain technique. Or I've got to challenge myself more, because everybody's a hero on their home lake.
Well,
but when you get on a body of water or against people that are doing other stuff, and that was what was awesome about the tournaments. So we closed out the first ever monthly series. So that is officially done. Actually, the top team has already gotten their payments because I've been sending them out, but we're going to go over the final standings. So in 5th place, real problem with 99 inches, like just under the century belt, was the bottom of the paying. So that shows you how good of competition was, is at 99 inches. We had a team in 5th place. Geronimo, who had spent a lot of the tournament in the top 3, got knocked down, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
To 99.25, coming in at 4th. My wife could probably tell you stories about how I literally sat on the couch scheming, plotting, prophesizing how to move up in this event because I was very frustrated with my performance. I managed to cull every fish that we had in the last 3 trips that I went on the water. Literally really? Every single fish we had entered got culled, including at 7:00 last night, 4 hours before the end of the event, was when my final fish hit the board. So literally right to the last minute, just putting it all in. And that's something that I do want to throw in there for people who are competing in these events. Remember, you can literally change your standings by just going out. Like, don't think you're out of it. I can tell you, I was in like 8th place and then went on a tear and moved into 3rd. So if you guys think you're out of it, you're not. A couple of fish can make a huge difference in the final standings. So don't give up on that. Coming in 2nd place, we had Sticky Rice with 103 inches. And honestly, still one of my favorite team names that I've seen. The Lee brothers, specifically, with Sticky Rice as their name, is pretty awesome. And that damn Team Beaver ended up coming in on top with 106. One thing that we didn't do a good job, me and Bobby sucked at this, and I want to bring this up. There is a big bass lunker as part of the monthly, and we didn't really do a good job about talking about this. So there is a way for you as an individual to compete and actually win something. So Stoneman and Sons has generously donated for the lunker of every month. You get to not only get baits from him, but you get to design a custom bait with him. He will get on the phone with you or email, and you tell him what style of bait, what kind of paint job you want, and he will go through all of it and paint you your own custom bait for the lunker. So in the monthly, that's something that's an individual lunker. So even if you're last place, but you happen to have the biggest fish, you still have an opportunity to win that lunker and win that custom bait. So that's something that we didn't do a great job about mentioning that prize. It was kind of something that got put in last minute.
That's awesome though, because it gives you like that another alternative. You know what I mean? That's pretty freaking sweet, dude. So our lunker, why don't you announce who the lunker is?
Yeah, Sean the Fisherman with a 21.75.
That's a good fish. It's a real good fish.
And the thing is, he caught, I don't know if it was that one I'm looking right now. He caught that fish twice.
Oh, for real? No.
In 2 days.
What?
So he actually called me, and I had to make a judgment call on this one. And you guys can yell at me, or we may even have to put a rule change in for this later because there was no rule against it. So he caught that fish, and then the next day he caught another 21.75. We don't know if it's exactly the same fish, but it's the same length.
Gotcha.
And he even called me and was like, "Hey, I don't know what to do. Is this legal?" And I'm like, I don't know how to. I don't have DNA. Like, I don't know how to judge whether this is the same fish or not. It's the same length. It's the same lake, but I've caught fish before that I swear were the same one that weren't.
That's like, there's things that you got to look at, obviously, like any type of features on the body, any scars or anything, but it's also possible that you have a fish that like doesn't have anything that's like super identifiable, you know, and you can go and like, you know, the nice thing is with Sean is his pictures are like fucking money every fucking time.
If you want an example of how to photo a fish, go look at Sean's.
Go look at Sean's. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got it.
I'm
down.
not saying I don't judge them. I look at every fish and ask. The reason I ended up as the Jigs and Bigs tournament director is because last year there was an event and there was some fish that were questionable. Yep. And I actually, because I was interested, went and sent Bobby pictures. Like, I drill into these things hard, and I'm not going to be a super hard ass, but I'm also going to make sure that it is fair.
Yeah.
If you won, you won. Like, it is something that there is you had legal fish. You had exactly what you were supposed to have. For example, just to give you guys a little bit of perspective, I docked my own team. What the first fish I actually put a penalty on was Brody's. First fish I ever penalized in the Jigs and Bigs tournament was Brody for an open mouth. So literally the first team I penalized was my own team.
And it's funny, like, we're talking rules and stuff like that. Let's dive into that a little bit. So I think that here's the thing. Like first off, Todd Sefton chimes in. He goes, yeah, he's like, I noticed that he had a fish on there twice. He goes, there was a white space, white space on the gill plate, white spot. The thing is that because of the way that the app works, like when it's a different day, different location, shit like that, like you have all that data. I think that because this isn't a single day event, that like the possibility then explodes for you to be able to get into, especially if you're fishing the same body of water multiple times, you know, you could get that fish at different times. I mean, let's be honest, like, I don't think that the length of that fish is going to necessarily explode much. So it's probably within even a month going to come up to be about the same measurement. You know what I mean? Each time. So, yeah, he says you could tell it was a different pick, different day. I think for a monthly, I think we've got to allow it. But I do want to mention this. Like, we talked about this, you and I, Mike, about like what happens in certain instances, because there's a penalty. If you have an open mouth that's judged to be, I believe it's over a 1/4 inch, that fish will take a 1/2 inch penalty. Is it a 1/2 inch or a 1 inch?
It is a half inch if it's open, a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
After
a 1/4 inch or more,
it technically could be DQ'd outright if it's and really to explain that a little bit, the reason for that is because the way a bass's mouth is hinged, if you have an open mouth, you can actually add a 1/4 inch to a fish.
Yep.
If not more. There's ways to manipulate the way a fish's mouth is open that you can add length to a fish by having its mouth open. So by the mouth closed is how you actually can, it's a way to prevent cheating. It's something that has been used in the past for cheating. So that's why, and that's not a Jigs and Bigs rule. That is a KBF Bass Master. That rule is literally straight out of the rule book for kayak bass fishing.
But the thing is we talked about it. We're like, so what should we do? Because the thing is this, I think it happened in the slot actually, where there was one that came up, and it was the mouth was open, and the penalty was going to make it so that it didn't hit the minimum. It was going to be like 11 3/4, something like that. And we talked about it, and I was like, well, where is that penalty coming off? Is it coming off the total, or is it that individual fish? Because it's off the total, that affects the money. You know what I mean? It's fine. Like, that's okay. But the problem is that fishing chaos won't allow a penalized fish that doesn't hit the minimum to stay in.
Yep.
So what we're really getting to is measure your fish accurately. That's really what it gets down to, because it's the platform. Like, there's nothing that we can do about it. So
we literally tested this, guys. I entered my own fish. I literally went into one of my own fish, penalized it in the slot, and watched it completely be removed.
Yep.
So I had no control over it. I went in and did the penalty like I would normally do, and the fish completely disappeared from my bag.
Yeah.
So I know that that's how the app works. There's no way for me to override that because it's the app. So
fair enough. But fucking wild, dude. I mean, we had 30 anglers, 33, I think.
32 anglers.
Yeah.
What's actually impressive to me is I was skeptical. I was like, okay, it's the first event, so everybody jumped in because it's something new. Everybody likes something new. Right now, today is the 1st of May.
Yep.
There's 27 anglers and 16 teams in the May tournament. So it wasn't just a fluke. We have that many. We are 5 short of what we had last month again already.
No shit.
And you still can sign up. That's another thing. If you're looking to sign up for this, we run this tournament. We set it up so that you basically have the full first week, because I know a lot of people. For me, I used to look for tournaments on weekends.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd run it through the first week. So if you're going out and looking on, what's going on this week, you'll see that tournament still there.
Yeah.
You're really getting, if anything, you're disadvantaged. So it's not like you're getting a competitive advantage signing up later. But again,
it's an open door.
Really, you still have 3 more weeks to put fish in. So you're still going to be able to be competitive.
The reality of it is, when it comes to these tournaments, whether it's the monthly or even the multi-species or whatever it is, all it takes is like one good outing, the right body of water. You know what I mean? Like, it can happen.
Literally did it.
Yeah.
I literally did it yesterday.
It's true.
I went from 5th to 3rd in one outing.
John Hagan says, he chimes in here. He goes, I lay my measuring board angled down slightly when I get a fish that won't cooperate. I let its own body weight force its mouth closed. Absolutely. That works great too. Sometimes I like to place my hand right behind the dorsal fin and push there, just tickle the butthole, and they usually pucker right up. Yeah, that'll work. The problem is the
Cops will get called on you.
because fish have rights, and they won't be a victim.
Another trick
won't be a
is,
victim.
and this is something you have to be careful when you take the photo, but weirdly enough, if you cover a fish's eye, push him up against the board, he will calm down, then slide your hand back and take your photo. For some reason, when their eyes are covered, it mellows them out. I have no idea why, because to me, that would freak me out if I was my eyes are covered. But with bass, you can put your hand over their eye, push them up against the board. A lot of times they'll relax. Then you need to remove your hand from that eye.
Yep.
But it is a trick to get the fish measured. So
it's the worst part is when you do that and then like you fumble with the camera or something, and then they you can feel them flex up like they're gonna go. Yeah. See, John, this is what I do. I whisper sweet nothings into their ear hole. That's what I do too. I'm usually I usually say shit like,
shh, I just want to take some pictures.
It shuts them right up.
It's crazy. Smallmouth too. Smallmouth are escape artists.
Yeah.
Smallmouth are creative. Like, it's amazing. Sometimes you think you have a smallmouth pinned to the board, and they will do a backflip off of that board. I don't know how they do it.
Oh, yeah. Bert says the brown eye. Whatever it takes. Whatever it fucking takes, guys. I got to say, like, this tournament series is awesome. I'm looking forward to May. A lot of my focus is on that multi-species championship, but I'm going to be out bass fishing like my ass off. Looking at the numbers, like, I've only put in 9 bass into the tournament. The majority, I thought I was killing it for a while, and like Joe was out this one day and was culling everything I put in.
Yep. I noticed a different colored sleeve all of a sudden start showing up in all
quite a bit. But man, it was, Team Big Jig Energy, where do we finish? 12th or something? 13th? Probably 8th? I don't know.
I'm in the 13th.
13th. Lucky number 13th. Okay. All right. Well,
and that's how much competition there was, guys. They were in 13th out of 17 with 82.25.
Yeah.
So like, this wasn't a pushover event. Like 82 inches is a decent bag.
Yeah, it is. It's a decent bag, but man, it was, dude, I'm just telling you, it was for us, this was a weird month. I know from a lot of other folks that we heard from, it was kind of a crazy month as well. So yeah, it is badass. It is absolutely badass. John says, I just show the bass a 12-aught circle hook, and then we gain an understanding. Fair enough. Todd Sefton says, not so sweet nothings.
I just want to take some pictures, baby.
That's what it is. My river is down 650 CFS, looking good. That's awesome. Badass, dude. I'm telling you, I think, and Todd's in the multi-species scavenger hunt championship. So, man, it's going to be good. It's going to be a slugfest in there. It's going to be crazy.
I think I'm going to do the fall one. I can't do May because on top of judging a scavenger hunt, judging a championship, judging a monthly and a slot, I have 2 Slay Nation tournaments. So I have essentially 4 tournaments in May that I'm participating in, plus judging 2 extra ones.
God damn.
So I'm not, it's too busy. Otherwise I would do the May one for sure.
It's good stuff. It is good stuff.
And for those of you, like Bobby was saying earlier, that are apprehensive about it, the best I ever did in a scavenger hunt tournament was just putting bycatch in.
Yeah.
I was bass fishing the whole time, never really targeted specific species, and I put in more fish that tournament than I ever did. I caught trout last weekend when I was bass fishing. Yeah. I was practicing for a slot tournament,
dude,
and catching rainbows.
I was fishing I was targeting bass all month long, and I caught trout, I caught pike, I caught pickerel, I caught perch, I caught white perch. Dude, I caught like everything you could possibly want and not want. It was ridiculous. So it's like, and I was throwing stuff like I was throwing artificial lures because that's what I like. That's what I do. And, you know, I mean, I haven't won a scavenger hunt, but I've also come ridiculously close. Like that last open that we did. No, it was the May Open actually last year. I mean, it was between like a point, first, second, and third. It was ridiculous. And I was right up there. So like it can happen. Half of it is kind of gambling on, and because that's nationwide, it's kind of gambling on like, how are the other folks' conditions and their schedule? Like, are they able to get out there and put the time in? So it's a challenge, man. It's a challenge. But why don't we go ahead? We'll do this. We'll take a real quick break, and we'll loop this back around, loop this sucker around. And when we get back, we're talking about that moving water that seems to get folks a little bit, I guess a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidated a little bit, you know, like it gets them off their comfort zone. We'll talk about it, things that you can do to kind of like help yourself get ahead and maybe not be so damn concerned about the fact that it's a whole different water system. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up right after the yes.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Yeah. Segment number 2. And we're talking moving water, not and how you can not fear the current. Let me ask you guys something. Why is it that the same angler that can go out and catch fish on a lake suddenly turns into like a lost tourist the second the water starts moving? Rivers just intimidate people. And it's one thing that I have learned talking to so many folks that listen to and engage with the show. They look chaotic and unpredictable. And honestly, depending on the situation, they can be a bit sketchy sometimes. And for a lot of anglers, they're the one type of water they just avoid altogether. But here's the truth. Rivers aren't random. They're actually one of the most predictable fisheries out there. And if you understand one thing, current controls everything. Everything in a river revolves around current. Food, controlled by current. Oxygen, controlled by current. Fish positioning, you guessed it, current. And the fish are not out there fighting it all day like idiots. They're using it. They'll position themselves where they can either conserve energy, where they're able to intercept food, and also where they can stay protected. So it's not necessarily your job to find fish. Your job is actually to find where fish don't have to fight the river. Before you go making a cast, actually just look at the water with your eyes. Rivers are going to tell you everything if you just pay attention. And some of the things that you can look for are current breaks, like things like rocks and logs, bridge pilings, eddies. You know, when you see that calm swirl behind something, that's an eddy. Seams where fast water meets slow water. Depth changes. And you can usually see those with the naked eye because you'll oftentimes see darker water, and that means it's deeper water. And then foam lines. When you see the foam on the surface, that's like a conveyor belt of food. Fish are almost going to be sitting on the slow side of something, facing into the current and waiting for food to come to them. And your electronics out there are definitely a tool, but they're not a crutch. If you've got electronics, definitely use them. They're great for finding depth changes, identifying bottom composition, He can also see where bait stack up. But here's the deal. In current, fish reposition constantly. So yeah, if you might see a fish on your graph, but if that flow changes, they're gone. Your eyes and your understanding of current will outfish your screen every single time. And bank anglers, you guys are sleeping on rivers. Bank anglers might actually have an advantage here because you're forced to slow down and read the river. Focus on bridges and bends and inflows. Fish inside bends where the water is slower, and that's generally where you're going to find more fish. Cast upstream and work with the current coming back down. Keep moving and cover water. Don't just stand there and hope. Rivers, they reward anglers who hunt. And kayak anglers, man, kayak anglers, you're like in the sweet spot. But keep in mind, safety matters. Do us a favor and just wear your PFD, no exceptions. Check flow rates before you launch and know your takeout points. As for strategies, use the river to drift fish. Hit multiple spots in a single float. Control your position with a paddle or an anchor. Your kayak is basically a precision drift machine if you can learn how to use it right. Boat anglers, position is the name of the game. Rivers will definitely humble you real quick, but if you can fish upstream anytime possible, you'll get some pretty good results. Use your trolling motor to hold position. Break the river into sections instead of running all over the place. And if you can't control your boat in current, you're not really fishing. You're just kind of along for the ride. And not that that's not fun, but it can be frustrating. Now let's talk about when you have heavy current and drifting, where the magic can really happen. Let's talk about the part that kind of separates your average river angler from the ones who go out there and absolutely just wreck fish. Heavy current. Fishing position in heavy current. Well, in heavy current, fish get even more predictable because they stack up in the biggest current breaks, in the deepest pockets, or the cleanest seams. One rock or one seam, one drop can hold an absolute pile of fish. And presentation is generally everything. In current, you don't really get second chances. Your bait has to look natural. If it's fighting the current, it's wrong. If it's flowing naturally, it's going to get bit. The goal, match the speed of the river. This is it right here. If you take one thing from this segment, take this. Learn how to drift. Because when you drift properly, you're not working the bait. The river is. So how do you do it? Cast upstream or up current and let your bait float naturally downstream. Keep some slight tension and feel the bite. Don't overpower it. You're not dragging your bait here. You're letting the river deliver it to the fish. Some of the best baits to do this technique and drift are Ned rigs, tubes, lighter jigs, light soft plastics, small swim baits. If it can glide, bounce, or flow naturally, then it's going to be money. And where to drift? Well, drift along seams. Those eddy lines, downstream the sides of structure, anywhere there's a drop off. Don't just drift aimlessly. Hit the spots where the fish are actually going to be set up to eat. And it's drift control where people mess up. And I mean, obviously, we're talking boats and kayaks here. You want to be matching the speed of the current. Slow yourself down if needed. Hit some lines multiple times. Boat control isn't just position. It's also speed and angle. And now let's talk about power fishing in current. This is like the bonus side quest. You definitely can still power fish, but you just have to adjust for it. Make sure to cast upstream and bring the bait with the current. Use heavier baits if you want to try to stay in the zone. Reaction baits can absolutely crush, but only if they move naturally with the flow. And here's a list of some common mistakes that some people make. Fishing too fast. And I am 100% guilty of that. Absolutely guilty of that. Ignoring seams, fighting current, not adjusting weight. And if you're not catching fish in current, it's probably not the location. It's more than likely the presentation. Dams and water changes, well, that can kind of be the wild card here. It's fluctuating water. Rising water, fish are going to tighten to cover most times. Falling water, fish might slide a little bit deeper. When there's dam releases, feeding windows, they adjust. If you learn a dam schedule, no, not if you learn a dam schedule, if you learn a dam's schedule, you've just unlocked a cheat code. Now let's talk about safety in rivers. Quick reality check. Rivers can definitely be dangerous. Current is generally going to be stronger than it looks. Water levels can change really quickly, especially around dams. And debris can be totally unpredictable. If it feels sketchy, it probably is. And here's the biggest tip that I can give you guys. Stop fighting the river. Don't cast against it. Don't ignore it. Work with it. Because once you start thinking like the current, everything starts to make a little bit of sense. So if rivers have been that thing that you've been avoiding, this is your sign. Go get uncomfortable, because once you do figure them out, you might never look at lakes the same way again. And we want to hear from you guys. Got a river that's been kicking your ass? Got a tip that maybe we didn't cover? Call or text the hotline and let us know. 413-324-8519. Give us a call or a text. We'll gladly talk about this, reference it. We'll put it in an upcoming live well episode. And, you know, we're going to try to help everybody to stop being bullied by moving water. So, guys, I want to know from you, Mike, and from you, Joe, how many times has the river absolutely, like, humbled you? Like, current's just been like, I
don't think I've ever had what I would consider to be a successful day on a real river. There's a difference in some cases. Like, there's a couple rivers near me that, when it's not flood stage or like heavy rain, it's more of a lake. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have current, really. You can pretty much sit right in the middle of it and not move.
Yeah.
But like Connecticut River, there's stuff like that where that's a different beast. St. Lawrence, let's be honest, me and you on the St. Lawrence,
100% what I thought of. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, and when we were there, obviously, like it was tough for everybody. But like, I think of that current situation because where we were was in Thousand Islands, and what was the narrows of that river. Right. So the current was unbelievably significant, like ridiculously so. And I remember that first day, you and I going out there, and we'd find something that was kind of sexy, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and just spot lock it here." And it was like the boat was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Yeah.
And it wasn't until we were out there with Chris, and you know, I remembered what we saw other boats doing, and I was like, "Why aren't we doing that?" And they were literally like just traveling with the current and just basically drifting their baits down as they went. And it takes a little bit of finessing, like with your trolling motor or with your rudder or paddle or whatever. You know, the rivers are going to be different for lots of folks. If the current's not that bad, honestly, like when I trout fish that river that I like to hit regularly, I actually like to go downstream, just motor downstream all the way down and start at one point and then fish back up with my trolling motor. It's murder on my battery, but it allows me to pick apart pieces and drag that bait and cast upward. Now, I'm not saying that you can't catch fish if you throw a bait cross current and bring it back to you. Because the fish I caught on Sunday that I called that last fish in the tournament, it came that way. You know, I was drifting with the river and I was just making casts out to the bank and swinging them back in. But I was allowing that bait to be as natural as I could. And it was the same thing with lower water levels when I was out there on Wednesday. And the current, I had one of these magic situations where the current was flowing in one direction, but the wind was pushing me against. So it slowed me down naturally. So I actually had to kind of speed up with my bait. Luckily, it was a light wind. It wasn't anything crazy. But yeah, I just had to keep the trolling motor on. It was kind of nuts. But John Hagens chimes in with a bunch of stuff. And I'm glad that he did, because if there's a guy that I trust with like current and moving water, he's put the time in and understands this stuff. He says rivers will tell you where the fish are. High, fast water is going to push fish ashore to feed on bait that's pressed up against the bank. Chocolate milk will put fish into a tributary mouth for clearer water. Eddies, current seams, and breaks from heavy cover are like a bait fish depository, and that's where your bigger fish will find ambush points and crash bait balls. And then he says, against most rules, but when you drift a bait with the current, hold your rod tip high to eliminate the drag on your line and present a more natural float. Of course, this is going to depend on your bait or retrieve. I totally get that, man. I totally get that. I usually try to keep my rod tip up a little bit higher because, like, lots of times one of my favorite baits is a jig head with a small swim bait, you know, and keeping that up also will keep it just flowing, you know, lift up that jig head a little bit and keep it going. But
it literally sounds like a cliche, but the biggest thing I've learned is go with the flow. Don't try to fight it, because the more you try to fight it, you just get frustrated.
There's a really good Queens of the Stone Age song called Go With The Flow. And I'm going to try to keep that in my fucking mind next time. Because it's true, dude.
I know. I do that with lakes even. Like, so when you get a windy day, like those days where it's like gusting 30, right?
Yep.
I don't fish my bait against the current. Now, I know there is a time and place where that does have some effectiveness. But as a general rule, if you think about like a bait fish, especially like if you're throwing like, say, a Kitech.
Yeah.
Do you really think a 3-inch minnow is swimming against the force of that water?
Yeah.
No, they can't. They're going to ride with it. So if you cast into the wind, which sucks a little bit, and work the bait with the current, that's more natural. And the fish tend to set up on the other side of the current. So if you drift with it, then you're going to go to where the fish ambush spots are, because they're sitting on the other end of that current waiting for something to swim by them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a river. Like, you just basically have to think about, if I was a fish, where would I sit and wait for my fast food to come by me?
It's interesting too, because like we use that anytime we talk about current or moving water, or like you even said, like wind pushing bait up against a specific bank, like that they're going to get pushed in that direction. We use this comparison like, oh yeah, it's like a bait, you know, conveyor belt, like it's just coming right to them. They could just, you know, commandeer that whole situation. And John kind of nailed it. He says, fish will always be facing upstream, picking off food that's washing toward them. Cast upriver and then bring it with you. You know, I sometimes it can be sketchy, like bridge pylons or you know, bridge pilings are definitely one thing. I've been in the river at times where I'll be, you know, the river's really high, and I'm like, I try to fish these bridge pilings, and it's just, the current is so ridiculous. Like I'm throwing like 3/4 ounce or a 1 ounce, like a football head jig, wobble head, you know, with like a swim bait or a plastic, some type of creature bait on there or something. And it's just like, sometimes you've just got to adjust your weight for how strong that current is, you know, and sometimes, like, I don't know, it's like I learned so much. What I really learned was I really know nothing about current up at the St. Lawrence. And that's what was really eye-opening to me, was seeing, like, remember that one boat, Mike, where it was the first group of dudes that had come by us. It was right after, I think you caught that first smallmouth on the first day. And there was these guys that came down, and they were basically just like adjusting their trolling motor to keep them like within casting distance
they were just spot locking essentially, but not really spot locking as much as direction locking.
Yeah, they were pretty much, it was like, and so like these last couple of times I was out in the river, what I would do is I would find a spot that looked decent. I'm like, I'm going to start there, and I'm basically just going to drift down. And what I would do is shut my trolling motor off and adjust the position. So like if the wind was blowing me a little bit one way, I'd set my motor in the direction the other way, and I just hit the start and stop button just to kind of reposition and just to kind of fix it just little bits here and there and shut it back off. Number one, that conserves a ton of battery, you know?
Yeah.
But number two, it keeps you kind of in the zone and moving in a natural position. And I feel like if you go by some structure that just looks amazing, or maybe you see something on your graph, motor around and go back over it and get another pass. Like if you're in a boat and you can do that, do it, you know? And that's like obviously like more like heavy current situations, but like it's just crazy. But that I think that's multiple times now I've put out surveys asking people about where their confidence was with different types of water. In fact, I think it was one of the initial like interview questions I used to ask every guest, and rivers were number one, the ones that people were just like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Bridge pilings can be one of the hardest spots to fish in heavy current unless you can anchor up or downstream and cast to it and eliminate drag on your line. I could totally see that, man. Not easy to do, but otherwise it adds an odds game trying to land that perfect cast for a precise drift or pass. That's exactly it. It's kind of like gambling at that point, waiting for that perfect sort of cast. What do you say, Joe?
I'll keep it short and sweet because I know I sound like crap, but the last couple of years, I have become super confident on rivers, both like big and small. That being like the Connecticut River, St. Lawrence, local rivers. But, I had to put in the work and I had to do the research. And because my outings weren't always fruitful, I had to, I went in there essentially not knowing what I was doing. And I did the work because I know fishing in rivers can be extremely rewarding. So
yeah,
I did the work. Dude, dragging a jig and running a drop shot and current are two of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, no, I makes total sense. And that's the thing. I think that if you have a river near you that's just got a reputation for being like a great fishery, and odds are it's going to be, because you have so much happening. They're teeming with life. If you have a river near you, dedicate some time to it. Put the investment in to learn it a little bit, and then take that and apply it elsewhere. It also, I will say this, there are a lot of people that stress this a lot. And I'm not saying to ignore this because we just talked about the safety element of it. But there are a lot of folks who, when I first got my boat, it was mid-June, late June, I think, when I got my boat. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take it to the river. It's going to be great. And people were like, be careful. The water is low. It's really low. And there's shit like all over the place. It can be nuts. You do have to keep open eyes and be aware of what's going on, and don't do anything stupid, be safe. And when I'm serious, like when it comes to kayak anglers, just wear your PFD. Trust me. Like if you dump your kayak and it's moving water, it can be a whole new set of drama that you don't want to be dealing with. So just do me a favor and make sure you're wearing your PFD. Todd says he loves the river. He's a river rat. He freaking loves it. He's always
another thing about the river guys that I never took into consideration until I every year I fish a little later, later, right? And one thing to, if you guys hear the train in the background, there's Joe's horn.
There's Joe's going by. Wow, you made great time from South Carolina.
Here comes the brown bus. The river fish are used to colder water.
Yeah.
So earlier in the season, the fish in the river will get active a little bit earlier because the water's always a little bit colder there anyways.
That's true.
And in the middle of the summer, those dog days of summer, when your lakes are getting ridiculously hot and those fish start to get a little lethargic because the water temps are so high, guess what, guys? The river is probably 8-10 degrees cooler, depending on how much current you have.
Yep.
So some of those fish may still be active, and that is an opportunity for you to get on some fish that aren't doing the whole dog days of summer thing.
And
so it's an opportunity to do that.
That's the other thing about rivers too, is they're always evolving. Like you get debris that rocks will move. You'll get wood, timber that you did get to fish before will just disappear eventually. Like it'll break down and move downstream, or you get a storm and a flood, new stuff gets introduced and gets hung up. So it's always this whole thing. I saw a key word here. John said the magic word. He said Al Lindner. He goes, Al Lindner taught a long time ago, follow the riffle hole scenario. When you're looking for fish, riffles give us aggressive feeding fish. Holes hold active fish and offer shelter. Runs are in between the hole and the next riffle and offer less fish and are more of a transition spot for fish between feeding grounds. That's real. That's a really good way to look at it, man. The old riffle hole scenario.
The old riffle hole.
Yeah. So, take that for what it's worth. Like, don't let the rivers intimidate you. Be smart about it when you get out there. But go and try some moving water. See what you can do. Drift. Just drift away. Sing a little Dobie Gray or Uncle Cracker. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, guys. We will be back with the live well in just a bit. Don't go too far.
All right, grab that big one first, will you? Bro, we killed it today.
Goddamn, he's a motherfucking beast. Shit, he got more fight now than when we hauled him in.
Watch it. Don't let him jump out of the tub. We lose him and it's over.
Relax, bitch. I got him. You get the scale ready. We're taking this one home, no doubt.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
It's true. We make a feeble attempt to answer all of your questions. That's what we do here, guys. Welcome to Live Well. We got a couple of calls that we're going to get to. This is kind of like our little mailbag segment. Think of this as like Jigs and Bigs
Around the water cooler.
You know, the small talk, shit like that. We talk about everything. If you have a question for us, we do our best to answer it, give a little bit of feedback. Maybe you just have a commentary on something you heard in another episode. This is a great way to keep that conversation going, and we're all about it. We're going to start with our first call. This one comes in from one of our regular jig heads, Brandon, NJBFS gang.
Bobby, who the fuck is Joe Brown? Question, just a tip or the live well? So when you're fighting a fish, when you hook into something big, right? And let them fight, let them tire yourself out. It was a big fish, decent size. I don't know what it was. And it brings you down and it brings you to the weeds. How can you try to get the fish out of the weeds, especially from the bank, without it getting unhooked? Thank you again. Tight lines.
You know, there's two ways of looking at it, right? One would say use heavier gear. You know what I mean? If you know that you're in a situation where you're fishing like heavy weeds and, or timber or something like that, and you're like, man, if I catch anything, it could get in there and get kind of crazy. Maybe use heavier gear. But the reality of it is that sometimes we hook into shit and we catch shit we weren't planning on catching, i.e. turtles. Or I'm going to give you a really great example with this, Brandon, because I had this happen a couple years ago. I was fishing for smallmouth, and I was fishing a small finesse jig on a spinning setup, and I hooked into an absolute giant northern pike, a giant. I'm talking like body probably as thick as my thighs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just probably was that 40-inch pike I was hoping to catch. And I had him up at the boat, but it was one of these fights where it took forever. And I knew I was over some pretty significant grass. And I knew that he was going to try to pull me in there. And he was pulling drag like a bitch. And I'll be honest with you, there isn't one thing that you can necessarily do that's going to work all the time. When that happens and you have them on light gear and it's a decent fish, I have found the best thing that you can do, or in this situation, and it worked, was I kept tension on that line. I didn't try to horse him out of the weeds. I let him decide when, here I am gender, fucking assigning to this fish. I let that pike decide when it was going to go and swim off. And I just kept tension there so I didn't lose him. So he didn't shake it off. You know what I'm saying? Just that hook was still buried in there. And I could tell when he came out of the weeds and made another run. Why? Because my drag started screaming again. And at that point, I was able to fight that fish and wear him out enough to get to the boat. And I got that fish up right at the boat, and I was just trying to get him in my net. And that's when he broke off. It was right in front of me. So, I mean, in those situations, especially when it's grass, keep that tension. And they'll eventually move. They're not going to go there and stay there necessarily. Now, when it's wood, that might be something a little bit different. You know what I mean? Because like if you're throwing braided line, you might have a little bit of a problem. That braid might cut into that wood and it might not come back out, you know? So you're going to want to be careful like that. That's why when I'm fishing around wood, I like to throw fluorocarbon primarily, you know, or mono even. And I think that's probably the best advice, because sometimes you are going to catch a big fish on a presentation you weren't expecting to catch them on. And if they head into whatever the cover is, sometimes the best situation is to let them figure their shit out. But you got to keep tension on there so that they don't have the leverage to be able to throw that hook. Now, what about
kind of like what Bobby said? Don't be in a hurry.
Yeah.
Like, you have to remember that fish's whole goal. I've had fish wrap themselves around logs, like literally loop themselves around.
Yep.
Or they are trying to get themselves into something safe. And it's funny because sometimes you think like mentally, you like almost like humanize them, like, oh yeah, he's trying to get around that rock to cut the line. He's probably not. He just knows that he's been safe behind that rock in the past. So he thinks that that's what safe is.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say is heavier gear does help. But like Bobby said, it's not about like, you don't need to lift the fish out of the water, but you do need to keep consistent pressure.
Yeah.
Don't pull so hard that you can hear your braid popping, but pull hard enough so that they can't get any slack. Because what will happen is there will be a moment where that fish decides it's going to try to make a move. And when you have that constant pressure, instead of him being able to swim forward, it's going to pull him up and sometimes up and out of whatever he's stuffed into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I fished grass. That's my forte is
fishing grass.
I'm fishing Florida type grass in some places, like places that you can literally put your kayak on and almost get out and walk on top of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm familiar with a lot of that. And braid helps, but like Bobby said, in certain situations, braid hurts.
Yeah.
Because it does cut into wood.
It would be nice if there was like this is what you do and that was it, or you use this and that was the fix. But these are all variables, so they're gonna change. Joe, do you have anything you want to add in here, like how you handle it?
You kind of hit it on the head for me, Bobby. It's all about keeping the tension on that line, because they're going into the grass or the weeds for safety. And when they realize that thing is still in their mouth, they're going to eventually come out and be like, okay, this isn't working. I got to try something else. So that you keep constant tension on that line.
Yep.
They're going to eventually come out because they know they're still hooked.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. If they know that they're still hooked, they're going to run, you know? And that's the best thing. You get them out there and then you're good to go. I mean, and sometimes you're going to lose a fish. Like sometimes it's just the way that it is, but like it increases your odds more if you keep them on. Now, I will say this, like it is fun to catch fish on light gear. It is so fun. It is not always the most ethically way to catch a fish. You don't want to fight a fish till it's dead. You know what I mean? So like you got to get it to the boat. And you got to keep that and be cognizant of it. You know, just be aware. John Higgins chimes in. He says, when I get a big cat that makes it to a snag and I cannot force it out, I'll pull the line tight and then flick the line a little and give a little bit of slack like the line broke. Sometimes they swim out. He says it's 50-50 though. And he says if you pull too hard, you can mangle the fish as well. Know when to cut your losses. That's exactly what it gets down to, you know?
And also when you're fighting them too, like your instinct is to like jerk them, like yank real hard like a hook. That don't do that. You want to keep a consistent pressure and pull up, but don't like pop your rod up and down, because that's where you're gonna, like with the wood situation that Bobby was talking about, that's where your braid is gonna saw into whatever is there. Even fluorocarbon, you're gonna end up creating these weird whipping type of actions that are going to cause that line to break. Mm-hmm. So you want to kind of keep a consistent, keep your rod up, reel a little bit, and just keep pulling with the guys in the boat, honestly, I've seen guys literally with braid, like just turn the trolling motor and just reverse and just drag them out. But like with a kayak, it's a little different.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it also depends like on the fish too. Like I've had fish before where I've been able to like pedal back, but like I remember when I caught that fucking 24-inch brown on bait finesse on like fucking what is a Bronco blade. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, how is this even going to happen? Yeah. And it's like, it's tough. Like you got to let the drag do its job, you know, when they are running, but keep that tension. That's a really good question. Like it would be one of those things where if there was one piece of equipment or like one specific technique and it worked every single time, I'd be the richest man alive, you know? Let's go ahead and chime in. It wouldn't be Jigs and Bigs. And I was worried that we weren't going to get this call, but at about 4 p.m. today.
Hey, it's Eli with Question for Live Well. I wanted to call and ask, what is there a bait? Is there product, a fishing product, it could be, I guess, really any product that necessarily is fishing industry, camping, outdoors related, that you think that the newer version or something that has been discontinued that they don't make that people don't make anymore is something that you wish you would have stocked up on and got a lot of that they just like, or they don't make it the same way. I know a lot of people talk about the wiggle wart. That just something's off about it. It's definitely not made like it used to be, and people pay big money for the old versions. So is there a bait product in the fishing industry that you're like, man, they don't make that anymore, or they don't make it like they used to that I wish I would have stocked up on? Just want to hear your thoughts.
This is a tough one, man, because I feel like I didn't really pay enough attention to fishing tackle when I was younger to really like have a good idea. And like, I've only really been seriously fishing. Like shit, I've only been using a bait caster since like 2016, something like that. Yeah. Like 10 years. You know, that's it. So I don't know if that's really like a good spot to say like, oh, this is something I wish. But I'm curious, like, do you guys have anything that you wish they made like that, or that maybe they changed the recipe on or something like that?
I do.
I had a feeling you would, Joe.
I do.
The original BBZ Spro Rat.
Oh, dude. Yes. Yeah, because that's not available anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a really good one, actually.
For me, it's a couple of colors. So I used to have this crankbait. It was actually a bait I used to call my lucky crankbait. And it was a bait that was this like weird color combination, and you can't get them anymore. They don't make them. And then actually more recently, Berkeley had the Berkeley War Pig, and it was a color called Vintage Craw. And I caught the first time I went to Cayuga and the Finger Lakes, I came home disappointed and defeated because my bass motor had messed my bass boat had messed up. And one of the first times I caught fish on this particular color was I caught a fish on the front end back treble of this lipless. And the only time I've ever caught two fish on the same bait at the same time was on that specific lipless, and they don't make that color anymore.
Oh, really?
It's gone. Like it's just like there's literally it's on like Whatnot and eBay and stuff like that, but it was already like a $9 lipless that's now selling for like $25. And I'm just not willing to pay the money. Now, I will say, to kind of spin this a little bit, for those of you who do have a pattern, a color, certain type of bait, this is where custom bait painters come in handy, and having a buddy in your pocket.
Yep.
Because the PB Smalley that I caught when I sent you that, Bobby, that I put into the duo, that was on a Stoneman Sons copy of the bait I was just talking about.
Yeah.
I sent him a picture and said, this is the bait, this is the style, this is the color. And I literally caught my PB Smalley on a bait that Pete painted up for me that was a copy of the color that was discontinued. So keep that in mind, guys. If you can find a custom bait painter that you trust, or I mean, if you want to talk to the ones that I know a couple of Bay Lure Labs, Stoneman and Sons. You can sometimes bring back an old color that you can't get anymore.
It is a really good point too, because like hard baits, like they might change the plug. You know, there might be some engineering change or something like that occurs. But like if you can get the original plug and it's just the color that you want, you know, like custom bait painters really do kind of make it a whole lot easier. I think where you run into like the most issues when it comes to fishing gear anyway is plastics, because if somebody changes the recipe on a plastic, it might not have the same action. You know, or like if a company changes the content to salt that they use for whatever reason or something along those lines. Like colors are definitely one of those things. Bert nailed it. He goes, he forgot the mic is on. That's why freaking
the consistency of plastic. A perfect example is Kytex.
Yeah.
Kytex are the worst durability of any fucking plastic that you'll ever fish. But guess what? They also have the perfect action to catch a fish on.
Yeah.
So they are as annoying as it is that they fall apart after a couple of fish in some cases. If they were to change that formula to make that bait more durable, I can almost guarantee you it would catch less fish.
It wouldn't be the same. Yeah, exactly.
It just wouldn't.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. Like I'm sure if I'm probably not thinking like far enough, but I'm trying to think like camping equipment that's like changed. And there's been some kind of an adaptation or something that's made. Like I'm like, but Coleman is like pretty good at most of their shit.
I will say though, newer camping chairs, like the actual chairs,
dude, they're fucking disposable.
They're fucking awful now.
They're terrible.
Back in the day, you used to have like that old chair, you know, Dad's old camp chair.
Mm-hmm.
That thing had, you know, 7 cigarette burn holes in it. It was like, it wasn't even close to the same color it originally was. But you pull that out every year. Now, I've literally sat in chairs where like it's uncomfortable out of the package, let alone a week later. And then like the poles get bent and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of stuff in the industry, unfortunately, that has definitely cheapened up. I know with like
just shrinkflation and stuff they're trying to make. No, that makes sense, dude. You know. Yeah, I think Joe, you suggesting the BBZ rat is just like fucking money, because that is one where I remember like I got into it and then I was like, wait a minute, they stopped making this? What the fuck? And it's to the point where like, I mean, I'll definitely throw them, but I only have a few and I don't want to lose them. You know,
that's what happened with me with those crankbaits. Was like, I got to the point where I still have 2. And literally, if there's pike, I won't throw it. There's like certain bodies of water, I will not throw it because I'm like, I don't want to lose this.
You don't want to lose it.
Because I can't replace it. You know, it's like not as easy.
Friggin' A, dude. Friggin' A. Nice. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's show, boys. I think it is. I think we nailed it. I think we got ourselves a nice little show. May is fully here. You guys go to jigsandbigs.com. There's a link right there for all of the tournaments. Just go click the tournaments tab. When you get to Fishing Chaos, you can register for everything. Get yourselves in there and enter and join us. And, you still have some time to get into the team tournament. Team tournament started. Slot limit tournament doesn't start for another week. So even if you're only hearing this on the show after it drops, by the way, this show drops on Cinco de Mayo.
Nice.
I don't have a bottle of tequila down here. Otherwise, I'd do a shot. But, I am a piece of shit. Anyway, you guys have anything you want to wrap up with before we call it?
Nope, I just pulled into Buc-ee's to get fuel, so
nice.
Let's go.
Get fuel at Buc-ee's and have yourself a little fucking brisket Sammy.
Hell yeah.
I love it, dude. Hey, travel safe, Joe, all right?
Appreciate you guys.
I love it, dude. Good fucking stuff. Enter the multi-species tourneys, John says. Yes.
Enter the derbs, jerks.
Let's do this. Now, you can get in on the championship, too. All you got to do is be entered in the Open at the same time. We'll allow it. I'm open to it. It's all good. And it's good stuff. Guys, on behalf of myself, Pinya Outdoors, and the full-on buckified Joe Brown, have yourselves a good one, guys. And you know how it is.
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.
To the stories we told, every bite, every miss, every moment on hold. You showed up, tuned in, stayed through it all. Now we're reeling it back as the night starts to fall. Every download, every share, you kept this thing alive out there. This is one last kiss before you go. If you felt this vibe, let the whole world know. Hit that follow, leave the ring, help us grow this thing we create. Links below, yeah, we got your back. Save some cash on the gear you stack. Every click keeps the lights on bright, keeps us talking fish every single night. You save a buck, we build this show. That's how this whole damn thing can grow. This is one last kiss before you go. If you felt this vibe, let the whole world know. Hit that follow, leave that rate, help us grow this thing we create. Changes, you already know. You're the reason this thing still goes. Early access, backstage view, yeah, this whole damn thing runs on you. Subscribe.